Hey guys, welcome to another unscheduled live. You guys are probably wondering why we're going live tonight. Um, I thought tonight would be a good night to talk about the DIY incubator. Not only the one that's here on the channel, but other DIY incubators also. I've been getting a lot of questions the past couple weeks about the incubator build, how to tweak it, how to keep humidity levels where they need to be. Um, so I was going to do a regular video for the channel, but I've already done that. So I thought, you know what, I'll just go live tonight, try to address some of the questions and comments that we've been getting on the DIY incubator, and you know, give you guys something to do on a Thursday night. So I got done. For those of you who know that I've been remodeling my house, I got done a little bit early today, so didn't have nothing else to do. So I thought, you know, what the heck, we'll go live. So first off, I do have a couple quick announcements that I always do. Shout out to our sponsors, Southwest Game Birds and Hatching Time. Southwest Game Birds offers a 10% discount on anything on their website if you use the coupon code Caternix Corner during checkout. So whether you're getting hatching eggs or live birds, whatever else they sell, you can get a 10% off discount. At Hatching Time, they are a pretty much an all-around poultry supplier of different types of poultry cages, waters, feeders, you name it. They pretty much got it. They've got incubators and whatnot. Um, I really like Hatching Time equipment. I do use some of their stuff, and I appreciate everything that Hatching Time does for the channel. They give us a $50 gift certificate every week that we give away on Tuesday, so that's really nice. And same with Southwest Game Birds. Michael is always every week donates a 30 count of hatching eggs of different varieties and whatnot. So much appreciated to both of our channel sponsors. Also, I want to invite you guys, if you haven't already, check out the CaternixCorner.com website. It's a community resource. Basically, it's like a kind of like a social media site like Facebook, but laid out a little bit different. We got a lot of great people over there. I think we're up over 2,300 members already, and it's growing fast. So I just want to invite you guys, to come on over there and join us. We got it's called the Caternix Corner Library. It's a repository of articles, websites, breeders, just all kinds of very informational stuff that you guys can use to help you along in your quail journey. And also check out the CC Farm Market. That's a place where you can post, anything farm related. You post it on the website, whether it's hatching eggs, rabbits, ducks, chicken, you name it. Any type of farm livestock can go on that website. Equipment, supplies. We've got a merchandise category in there. So check it out. That's actually coming along pretty good. A lot of people have been posting stuff. I understand right now I won't say breeding season, but the laying season and shipping is kind of coming to an end. For a lot of people, just due to the lack of daylight hours, and it's getting shorter. So, but we're hoping that by the end of the year we'll have enough people that are familiar with the farm market to where during next season, early spring and whatnot, you've got a place you can post your hatching eggs. And the nice thing about posting your stuff over on the CC Farm Market is you can copy the link to your ad and share it anywhere. You can share it on your websites, your Facebook pages, any of the Facebook groups that allow links to outside pages. You can post them there, and Facebook's not going to mess with you for posting a link. They will mess with you for posting animals for sale or even hatching eggs for sale. Kind of ridiculous, but they do. So one other thing I wanted to mention is our Caternix Corner podcast. I keep saying it's a weekly podcast, but I've kind of slacked off since I started this remodeling project. I just haven't had the time or the gumption to sit down and put a podcast together. But like I say, as soon as this remodeling work's done, I've got family coming down the first week of next month. So once that's all taken care of, I'm going to jump right back into, you know, producing podcasts, producing more videos for the channel, stuff like that. So, and that's kind of another reason for going live tonight. I figured, you know, we've been slacking a little bit around here, so I thought, you know what, we'll go ahead and do a live stream on Thursday. So, I see we've got quite a few people checking in already, and that's good for a Thursday. I mean, I'm surprised actually that anybody checked in. So, but what I want to talk about today is the DIY incubator. For those of you who are familiar with the channel, we've got an incubator that we built probably about 3 years ago. It's a foam board incubator made out of, it's basically just foam board insulation. And it's relatively inexpensive to build. You can build it for like, I think in the video I say like $60, but now I'm going to push that up closer to 75 or 80, just due to the, you know, rising cost of materials and whatnot. But still, for an incubator that'll do the job that it does, it's well worth the money. I've been using one now for, well, since I built them. I've had 3 of them. I gave 2 of them away because I've got, you know, several commercial models, but I have one that is running right now, and it's pretty much running around the clock, just as a hatcher, hatching out all my eggs for me. That way the commercial incubators stay clean. So if you guys have any questions, I'll post them in the chat room. If you do me a favor, type the letter Q in front of your questions. That way I won't miss it. And I got a real brief slideshow that I want to present to you guys. And as soon as we're done with that, we'll jump over in the chat room and take your questions and whatnot. So I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that I forgot to mention to you guys. Oh, we do have an upcoming live. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be. It's going to be with Michael Rose from Southwest Game Birds. We're going to do a live stream on busting the myths about Coturnix. There's a lot of information going around out there that is, you know, some of it's half truth, some of it's just completely false and phony, and I don't know where it came from, and I can't believe people are still spreading it around. But it makes me think that, you know, if somebody says that, you know, such and such is true, there's going to be a lot of people that believe it, and they keep repeating it and repeating it. So we're going to, I might try to get not only Michael, but maybe a couple other breeders on here, experienced, you know, reputable breeders, to talk about some of the myths and whatnot. So for those of you who are new, you know, you're not going to buy into something that's not true. And for those of you that have, you know, been doing it for a while, you know, I mean, even me, I've done things that I always thought was right, you know, for the first, you know, year or two. And then after talking to reputable breeders, I'm finding out, you know, it's not really the way you want to do it, or it's what you were told wasn't 100% accurate. So, but anyhow, that's going to be an interesting live. I'm looking forward to it. So we will, as soon as I get a schedule together on that one with Michael and whoever else wants to come on, we'll go ahead and announce that. Let's see. I'm just kind of waiting to see if we're going to get a few people in here before I get started on the thing. But I guess for an off night, we're not doing too bad. Let me go ahead. We'll jump right in the presentation then. Basically, this is the DIY box incubator that we built here on the channel. It's made out of one 4x8 sheet of 1-inch foam board insulation material. That foam board insulation used to be about $19.95 a sheet, and I priced it just the other day, and it's like $26 a sheet now. So it's gone up in price, you know. So it's going to cost you a little bit more than what we say in the video to build. But everything to build this project, everything you could pretty much find laying around. Like, obviously not the foam board, you have to buy that, but some of the wood trimming and stuff, that was just old pieces of wood that I had laying around. I think the only other thing that I had to buy was the Inkbird regulator, and you can see that there on the right. It's like When I bought that one or all the other ones I had, they were like $15 a piece. I think now they're up probably closer to 20. So with the foam and the regulator, you've already got $45 wrapped up into it, and then you're going to need some light bulb pigtails, and I'll show you them here in a minute, and then some fans for inside the incubator. But the you can see that there's one hatching tray in there now. I only had a few eggs to set uh, for hatching, so I thought, or for lockdown, so I thought I'd get a shot of it while I did. I don't know how well you can see uh, that hygrometer thermometer that's inside there, but you can see the bottom number, the smaller number, is the temperature inside the incubator, and it's holding steady at 99 degrees. It's actually closer to 99.5. Um, and the relative humidity in there is at 40% now. That's that top number, and that's because there's no water in there. So I do a dry hatch. Most of 90% of the time when I'm incubating, I do a dry hatch. It means I don't put any water in the incubator during incubation. The only time I'll add water to it is on day 14 when I go into lockdown, and I'll show you the trays here in a minute that I use. But I'll put a little bit of water in there, and that bumps it up to about 65%. This is a close-up of the Inkbird. It's the ITC 1000F, which just means it has Fahrenheit reading along with Celsius. Um, you can kind of see on the top there, if you're starting from right to left. I know it's upside down, it's kind of tricky to read, but um, there's 8 pins along the back side of that Inkbird, which is where you hook your wires to. But the only ones that you're going to use is pins 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 5 and 6. And 1 and 2 are basically your power. That's your positive and your neutral wire. Pins 3 and 4 are going to be your temperature sensor probe, and that comes with the Inkbird. And that sensor probe can be installed either way. There is no positive or negative on that, so you can't mess that up. You just stick one wire in 3 and the other wire in 4, and you're good to go. And then on pins 5 and 6, pin 5 is a hot pin. So what you need to do is run a jumper from pin 1 over to pin 5, and all you're doing is supplying power to that switch. Pins 5 and 6 are a switch, and then pin number 6 will go to your heating element or your light bulb, the hot leg of your light bulb. I also wanted to point out that you can see that this thing is reading 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Some people like to set the Inkbird at. I set mine at 99 degrees, and that which basically means that it shuts off when it gets to 99 degrees. It turns off the heating elements inside the incubator. But the residual heat from the light bulbs or heating elements will bring it up to about 99.5. Now, some people will set the Inkbird at 100 degrees, and I guess it's worked well for them. But I'm thinking that they're in a cooler climate to where they need, that it needs to come on or stay on a little bit longer just to hold that heat up around between 99.5 and 100 degrees. So either one is fine. You're just going to kind of play with it and see what zone works for you. But I've always kept mine at 99.5, and I've never had an issue with it. Always get pretty decent hatches. Okay, these are. I just wanted to point out there's 3 settings inside the Inkbird that need to be changed, and this is probably where I run into the biggest issues when people call me up. They have a problem with the incubator, like it's getting too cold, or it's when it gets to 99, it waits a few minutes before it turns on the heating elements, and that's because there's 3 settings that have to be changed inside the Inkbird. I'm not going to tell you how you get in there to change them, but I will tell you what the 3 temperatures are, or the 3 settings are, and what values they need to be set in. You can see on this shot here, it's TS, which stands for temperature set, and this is actually the first setting that comes up when you go into the settings, and it needs to be set to 99 degrees. Like I say, or said in the last shot, some people do 100, but I do 99. Um, the second setting is PT, which I have no idea what PT stands for, but that is your compressor delay. And the compressor delay, you want the value set to 0. By default, I think it's 3. What that means is your Inkbird will turn on the heating elements when it drops down to 98 degrees, and that's what this next setting is going to tell you. But it's when it drops down to 98 degrees, the Inkbird turns on the heating elements, and it goes up to 99. Once it reaches 99 degrees, it shuts off, and then as it cools back down, it gets to 99 or 98 again. But the compressor delay is the value or the setting that it will wait before it actually turns them bulbs on. So what'll happen is, say you're at 99 degrees and it starts sinking back down to 98. It gets to 98, and instead of your heating elements come on, if you leave the setting at default, it's going to wait 3 minutes before it turns it on. So now your temperature can stop, or now your temperature can actually drop down to about 96, 97 degrees, somewhere in there, before the heating elements come on. So if you change that compressor delay to 0, when it gets down to 98 degrees, it will come on right when it gets to that point. Okay, next setting is DS, which stands for differential set. And that is the amount of degrees that you want that thing to, like say you got to set it 99, you want to set it to this differential set to 1. That means it will drop 1 degree before turning the light back on. So this value, I think by default, to be honest with you, I'm not sure what the default setting is, but that needs to be set at 1. So that covers those settings inside the Inkbird. And the settings are really simple, guys. I mean, once you get in there, there's like I said, there's only 3. You got your temperature, you got your compressor delay, which needs to be at 0, and your differential set, which needs to be at 1. Those 3 settings, your Inkbird's set up and ready to go. Okay, this shot here is just showing the trays that I use in the bottom of the incubator to add water to for when I go into lockdown. And those are just, believe it or not, silverware trays, individual silverware trays. I've never seen them before, but I picked them up at Dollar General or the dollar store. I think they were $1 a piece. And if I fill both of them up, my humidity will come up to about between 60 and 65%, depending on what the relative humidity is outside the incubator. The other shot on the right is just showing the temperature sensor probe. I always keep that even with the top of the top hatching tray, or the top turner if you're going to use it as an incubator also. And the reason for that is, obviously heat rises, so you want that sensor probe to be in an area where it's not, if you had it lower than this top shelf, it might get too hot. So keep it even with the top shelf. That way your eggs in the top row are not being cooked. This is just another shot of the hatching tray. I've got, I don't know, maybe a couple dozen eggs in there right now. I actually just set those eggs today, so they're due to hatch in about 3 days, or they went into lockdown. And the picture on the right is a close-up of the circulation fans and the heating elements, which are basically just 60 or 85 watt halogen bulbs. And in the video online, we say that you want to use incandescents, but good luck finding them anymore. So if you just go to like Walmart or Home Depot, they both still carry halogens. You want a 60 watt equivalent or a 75 watt equivalent, whichever you can find. Either one will work just fine. I've also had luck with the ceramic heating elements like you would use, for reptiles and whatnot. Those will also work. The You can see the two heavy duty light bulb receptacles that the light bulbs screw into. Those are another thing that you'll have to purchase. Those are like, I think I spent $4 a piece on them, something like that. And then two computer fans. Those are Arctic F8 computer fans. They are a low speed fan that moves just about the right amount of air to keep good circulation. And I didn't get a shot of it, but behind those fans is a channel that's on the outside of the incubator, on the back side of the incubator. It's the forced air channel. And at the bottom of the incubator is where the cutout is. Right, let me go back to that shot. You can't see it in this picture, but right behind those two water trays, there's a little cutout on the back of the incubator, and there's on the back side of that is a forced air channel that goes up to these fans, and that's where it draws the air up. It draws the air from the bottom of the incubator up through the forced air channel, and then blows it out across the heating elements, which in turn warms the air and keeps it going. Let's see. Okay, here's a shot of. This is where I just put the eggs in for lockdown. You can see it. The temperature's up to 99. At the very bottom, you can see it says 99, then 100. That was my low temperature and my 100 temperature. So you can see that it's averaging between 99 and 100 degrees. So it's pretty close to 99.5. And then my humidity, the low side right there was 36 degrees, and the high was, I think it was 48. And that was with no water in there. Once I added water to it, that top number went up to about 64, 65. And I don't know why I put a shot of the brooders in there, but those are just some chicks that I hatched out last week, I think it was. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about some modifications that I've been doing to that box. This has been over, probably a 2-year period, just making different modifications to it to make the box run a little bit better. But one of the modifications, and if you look on the fan setup, let me go back to the fans. Oh, where are they? Right there. Those are two Arctic F8 fans. Those are 12-volt fans. They're just basically your standard computer fan. I'm changing out my boxes to this fan. It's 120-volt axial 8038. It's a little bit thicker than the computer fans, but it's a dual bearing and it's sealed. And that fan is so quiet you can barely hear it running. Actually, when it's inside the incubator, you can't hear it at all. So those fans are available. They're not. I think they're close to the same price as two of the axial fans, or two of the Arctic fans. But anyhow, that's what I'm changing out the incubator to, is two of them. Also, let me jump ahead. I'm also playing with this right now. This is a 120-volt heating element. I am trying to come up with an option for you guys, because I see online, and I've had people contact me saying, "Hey, I can't find the light bulbs, the incandescent light bulbs." And I thought, well, get the halogens. Some people say I can't find those either. So this is what I'm working with now. I'm still testing it. I want to see. They get pretty warm. You definitely have to have a fan blowing through these the ribs on this thing, or they'll actually get hot enough to melt that plastic. So, but before I release it to the public, I want to make sure that I can come up with a safe way of mounting it, and a way that the fan is going to keep that heating element cool enough to where it doesn't cause any issues, especially inside a foam incubator. This is just a shot of a couple of my commercial incubators. The one on the left is made by Hatching Time, or a company called Chamuka, and sold by Hatching Time. That's a CT60 model. I think it's one of their smallest cabinet incubators. But guys, if you want to spend a little bit of money on a cabinet incubator, those CT60s and the 180s, I think is the next one, are excellent boxes. I mean, it's like set that regulator on the top, and you're good to go. There's set it and forget it. And then on the one on the right is obviously the Barado. That's a real 49. I also have the Lumia 16, but the real 49 is where I incubate most of my larger hatches. I can do almost 200 eggs in that one, and it's the same as the hatching time incubator. It's pretty much you know dead on accurate. I get really good hatches out of it. So okay, that is the end of that one. But I did want to show you. What did I do with that? I thought I had a picture of it. I did want to give you an idea of the fans because this is another idea that I've been working on. Um, this is the axial fan that I just showed you in the presentation. Your incubator, if you're going to switch these, requires two of these fans. Or this fan, it's also an axial. It's almost twice the size, but one of these will move as much air as two of these. So I'm thinking of, on my next incubator build, I'm just going to use one of these fans because I like the fact that these fans are 120 volt. I don't have to have a 12 volt transformer, to run the fans like you do now. So everything will be 120 volts. These things are dead quiet. They're dual bearing and they're sealed. So you don't have to worry about the down and stuff from your chicks. I know if you've hatched eggs, you've seen all that dusty, downy stuff in the incubator. With these fans, you won't have to worry about that. So those are going to be tested, and down the road we'll do another video on that incubator, and let you guys know how it works and what works. I did have that thing here. This, just to give you an idea of how big it is. It's 120 volt. You wouldn't think that thing would be 120 volt, but it is. And what I'm trying to do is come up with something to where this is the bigger fan. I can mount that directly in front of this fan to where this isn't touching anything other than the two metal mounts that are holding it in front of the fan. That way, there's no way that this thing could possibly heat up the foam on your incubator and start a fire or whatever. I mean, I don't think it'd start a fire. That I've actually put. I'm trying to think what I used. I used something. Oh, I took a light bulb. Somebody had posted a picture. This was a couple years ago. Posted a picture how their light bulbs melted the inside of their heat chamber inside the incubator. And I mean, at first, when the guy first posted the picture, I kind of called him out on it, and I said, I know how hot it gets in there. If your fans are working properly, there's no way that foam melted. And to prove my point, I actually took a piece of that foam, took a 100-watt incandescent bulb, and held it up against that foam for probably 5 minutes, and took it off that foam, and there was barely a indentation on the foam. So, yeah, it's not going to start a fire, guys. All right. Like I say, if you have any questions about the incubator or tweaking the incubator, any of the settings that we use for that incubator, or any ideas that you might have that I haven't thought of as far as tweaking it, I'm always interested in looking or listening. I do have, and they're not in here, they're out in the shop for my next build. I found some coolers at Walmart, $12 a piece, really thick styrofoam coolers, and I rigged it up to where you can actually put tape on one side of the lid, and it'll make a hinge for a door. That's going to be another video. I'm working on that right now. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, that's another idea that's coming up. So let me go ahead and before we get too far into it, jump up and take a few questions. If you got any questions, comments, or whatever, go ahead and post them now. There's not very many people here, so I'll acknowledge everybody that's in the chat room now. And Andy Rabbit's in the house says hello. How is everyone? Michael Salters in the house says hello, everyone. Bay with the Bay. I Bay with. I don't know. I got it wrong last time, but 81. Hello, Scott here from Southwest Louisiana. Glad you could join us again, Scott. Brad Diltz is in the house, says Ray from Kansas. Glad you could join us, Ray. Scott F's in the house, says, hey, Terry. How you doing, Scott? Glad you could join us. Jill Brewer's in the house. I got the YouTube alert. Good evening. Glad you could join us, Jill. Appreciate that. Scott F says, hit the like button, everybody. Yeah, you guys can do that. Hit that like button. Kind of helps us out with the YouTube algorithms. They show the video a little bit more if you guys interact with it. Blake Phillips in the house from Hello from Tennessee, he says. Tony's in the house. Hello, sir. Glad you could join us tonight, Tony, and hope your birds are doing well. Chris P says, hello, everyone from South Carolina. Glad you could join us. Also, don't forget to hit the like button. Gary's in the house, says, good evening. Okay, I can't see your name because if you're joining us from Facebook, you have to go up to the description of that live stream, and there's a link in there. You got to click on that link and give Facebook permission to use your name to release your name for the stream. But anyhow, right now it just shows up as Facebook user. Says, I struggled with cutting it cleanly, but haven't looked into how to improve that. The easiest way to cut, and it's probably out in the shop, is get a foam cutter. Yeah, I guess it's out in the shop. It's just a little, it's like a soldering iron with a little element that sticks out about 6 inches on it. And that element gets really hot. And you can just follow your lines. It slices through it like butter, makes a nice clean cut. And I think I only paid like maybe $12 for the foam cutter. Okay, Blake Phillips in the house says, yes, love the podcast. It is great, especially when I'm at work because I can just listen on the earbuds. That was my whole thought about, behind doing the podcast was, I mean, I know that during the day I don't have time to sit down and listen to, even an hour-long live stream. I used to do it for other channels. I'd put in my earbuds and have my phone on and be out cleaning cages and listen to another channel's live streams. But no, and I thought too the podcast would be helpful for some people. A lot of people don't want to get onto YouTube, because actually to ask questions in the chat room, you've got to sign up. You have to have an account. So a lot of some people don't like that. Brian Crandall says, Ontario here. Glad you could join us, Brian. Monica says, good evening, Central Louisiana. Don S. is in the house, says hi from Central Illinois. Orlando says, hello to everyone. New York are here. Glad you could join us, Orlando. Appreciate it. Karen's in the house, says hi, coil lovers, loves, happy hatching. Absolutely. Susan says hello from Tampa Bay. Glad you could join us, Susan. Just north of me a little bit. C. Spencer says Amazon has 50% coupons on the Inkbird regulator ordered to today. Very, very good. So there you go, guys. 50% off. Is it 50% off or yeah, on the Incubator? That's probably under $10 for an Inkbird. So, and those Inkbirds are dependable. I had 3 different boxes that ran for almost 2 years a piece. Never had to replace an Inkbird. The one that I'm running now as a hatcher is going on 3 years, are pretty much constant running. Inkbird hasn't had no problem. I do recommend that you plug everything into a surge protector, especially if you're in an area like me. We're in the lightning capital of the world. So that, in my eyes, would be the only thing that would take the Inkbird out is getting a surge, from like lightning or something. So. Facebook user says saying hello. Didn't even know this was happening tonight. So glad I saw this. Yeah, I know I kind of throw you guys off when I pull a live stream, but like I say, things have been crazy around here. I've been, slacking on videos, slacking on the podcast. I skipped a couple weeks on the Katornik's Corner live streams on Tuesday, just so I could get this remodeling stuff done around here. So, what the heck? Couldn't hurt to do one on Thursday. Not talking to me. James Coate. James Coate's got a problem with us. He's always making his little smart ass comments. I mean, doesn't bother me, but Susan in the house says, question, I'm interested in an unconventional housing that can be turned into incubators. There are an awful lot of non-working wine coolers out there. Those are perfect for making a DIY incubator out. Another thing that works really well are the little college dorm refrigerators. They're already pre-insulated, so they work really well. But my daughter had a wine cooler in her house that she was going to give me, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to do a video for the channel on making an incubator out of it, but she changed her mind and decided she wanted to keep it. So, James, you really got a problem, buddy. See, Facebook user says I built one similar to yours. Have been holding a constant temp of 100.4. Do you think this will be dangerously high? Um, I don't like to go that high. I mean, if you could keep it right at 100, I mean that's at almost 101, 100.5. So I like it a little bit below 100 degrees, anywhere between 99.5 and say 99.7. It's not dangerously high. Your eggs will incubate and they will hatch. The thing that I would like to ask you, what are your temperature? What's your temperature gradient on the low side? What is it on the high side? Not your gradient, but your average temperature. Is it dropping down to 98 or 99, and is it going up over 100.4? Because that's what you need to average those temperatures. Um, I mean, being around 100 degrees, your chicks might hatch, half a day early or a day early, but I don't think it would be dangerously high. Karen Brown says, if I have to travel for 3 days the first week of incubation, I have to travel for 3 days the first week of incubation. Would you have suggestions? No, during the first, you got 14 days. You could take off for 2 weeks and not have an issue. I don't know where you're at and if you're able to do a dry hatch, but if you are, um, if your relative humidity outside the incubator is around between 45 and 55%, you can do a dry hatch, which you could go ahead and take off for a week and it wouldn't affect the eggs at all. But if you are concerned about it and you'd rather see your humidity up a little bit higher, I like my humidity around 30% during incubation, so I don't add any water. But you could always put a little water in there, and they should be fine. You might want to put your incubator on a surge protector, and better yet, a battery backup, kind of like what you would use on a computer. That way, if you did have any issues, power going out or whatever, hopefully the battery backup would keep it going, long enough to where the power can come back on. So, but yeah, I don't think you're going to have any issues in the first 3 days. Dawn says, question, I have one inkbird like you have, Terry, and they both read. I have one inkbird, and they both read different temps from each other. I guess tested in the incubator. How do you calibrate them? The inkbird, I guess I don't understand. Okay, there's the second question. I have two inkbirds like you have, and they both read different temps from each other, tested in the incubator. Are you saying that the ink birds are reading a certain temperature on the readout, but you're getting a different reading inside the incubator? What you want to do then is, as long as you know for a fact that the thermometer inside the incubator is accurate, calibrate it, make sure it's 100% accurate, then change your ink bird to reflect what the thermometer showing. So say you've got your Inkbird at 99 degrees. It goes up to 99 degrees, but the maximum temperature you get on your thermometer inside is 98. Then you're going to want to bump the Inkbird up to 100 degrees. So the Inkbird would be 1 degree up. There's actually there's a temperature setting inside the incubator. I don't know what the code for it is, but there's only 5 codes. But that setting can be changed 15 degrees either way. So if you figure out how far the Inkbird is off from what your calibrated thermometer is, say it's reading high, you can go in there and drop it down, say 1 degree, or if it's reading low, you can go in there and bump it up 1 degree. Um, I wish I knew what the code was. There's temperature set, PT, differential set, CF, which is Celsius, CA. CA is the setting that you want inside the incubator or inside the regulator. So press and hold the S button, I believe it is. Hold the S button until you see temperature set flash, and then using the up down arrows, change that to where it says CA, and then hit enter or hit the S button, and then use the up down arrows to adjust what setting you. I wish I had an Inkbird here I could show you, but yeah, it does have a calibration thing in there. Chris says, I use that Govee. I don't know how to spell it, but it sounds like Govee. Yeah, there are Govees. The one that I had in the incubator was not a Govee. That was actually a Accurate. Accurate. Here's a couple of Govees right here. And then I've got some other ones that I use. These are Therm Pros. These are really accurate. I prefer these over the Govees any day. You don't have the app with the Therm Pro, so you can't monitor it like you can the Govee, but they're almost dead on accurate. You can get a pack of 3 for like, I don't know, $12, and on Amazon's where I got mine. And I put them with a calibrated thermometer inside the incubator, and they were all dead on. So, let's see. Don S says, I get incandescents at the Dollar General. Cool. I didn't even know they carried light bulbs there. I actually went out and bought up, this was back, and it's kind of funny I bought them up, probably 2 years ago after I, was first built the incubators and I was using them constantly. I was worried about, not being able to find the bulbs, even the halogens. So I went out and I bought a whole box of those things. Now, I don't mean a box of 4 bulbs. I mean a whole box, basically a case of bulbs. So. Orlando says, I'll put some eggs in the incubator. They are 10 days old. Someone tell me the eggs still good, or are they too old? No, I mean, at 10 days old, yeah, the fertility rate will start dropping off after 10 days. But, you can collect eggs up to 10 days. I normally don't collect past 7 days, but, give them a shot, throw them in the incubator. You're not going to be out anything if they don't hatch, Andy says, wish I wasn't driving right now to where I could watch this one. There's always the replay, Andy. But I appreciate you listening in anyhow. Tim Watson says, try a squirrel cage laptop fan for your heater. Should be a close fit. Okay, yeah, there's an idea. I didn't know. I'm trying to think how would that would be mounted in the incubator because you need to blow the air across the heating elements. One, it helps to keep the heating elements from getting too hot, but it blows the warm air, out over the eggs. But yeah, no, it's a good idea. Salvador Santiago's in the house. Says, hey, Terry from Puerto Rico, waiting for the storm. Yeah, I talked to Salvador on the phone the other day. Always nice being able to talk to Salvador. That's right. We've got Fiona out there in the Atlantic. That is, I don't know if it's going to actually make it into hurricane status, but it looks like it is heading right towards Puerto Rico. So, batten down the hatches, Salvador. Christopher Platt's in the house. Says, sup? Glad you could join us. Cooking Sherry. Shooking Carrie. Has to be better late than never. Dinner time. Yep, I'm glad you could join us. Samantha's in the house. This question. I posted on Facebook, but I'm not sure what channel you're using. LOL. Are you talking about you posted in the comments? If you posted on Facebook and you didn't give, I can see that you're in YouTube now, but if you posted on Facebook, if you didn't give Facebook permission, it wouldn't show up, so I wouldn't know. I mean, the comment would show up, but your name wouldn't show up. But we're using both. We're simulcasting to Facebook and YouTube right now. Tony's in the house. Says hi from Toronto. Glad you could join us, Tony. Advantage Soki's in the house. Says Dave here from Essex, Ontario. My first bunch are in lockdown today. Congratulations. Good luck on the hatch. Scott O'Blanc is in the house. He was one of our winners on Tuesday. They're switched names. Bay with the Bay 81. Hello. I was going to ask about the setting on the Inkbird, but you answered them. I have an older GQF with an upgraded Inkbird. Thank you again. Yeah, that is probably the biggest thing that people run into with the Inkbirds is, I mean, I'm pretty sure in the video I go over how to change those settings, but for the most part, when I get somebody says my temperature is dropping and it's going 96 degrees before it's coming back on, right away I knew that they didn't go in there and change their settings. So yeah, very important. Michael Salter says, Terry, you can install a dimmer switch on your heating element to control how hot it gets, and it also allows more precise control of the temperature. Yeah, I mean, I did think of that, but I'm not building this for me. I'm kind of building it for the channel, and I'm trying to keep it real basic and real simple, because a lot of people out there, oh gosh, how do I wire heating, a dimmer switch or whatever. I mean, I know it's basically, for anybody that's ever done it, but there's a lot of people out there that haven't. And I've had people build the DIY incubator without knowing a thing, never wired anything together, and somehow they got through the directions. But yeah, that's a good option. But I'm like I say, I'm trying to come up with something. Because they say that the heating element isn't going to get too hot. I've actually turned on the fan and put this element in front of it and ran it for several hours. And right here is nice, not hot air, but, warm air. And none of the housing or anything got hot. So, yeah, it's just a matter of playing with it, tweaking it, and getting it right. But, yeah, good idea, We could always throw that in there, I guess. Anthony said, just got my Inkbird 50% off. Thanks so much. Just saved bucks. Cool. Dale Strong's in the house. Says hello from Ohio. Glad you could join us, Dale. Ron Darrell Adventures says howdy from Waco, Texas. Glad you could join us. Like and sub. Cool. Appreciate that. Yeah, if any of you guys watching aren't subscribers to our YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. If you'll get notifications on any new videos that we put out, and it kind of helps us. We're actually doing pretty good. I mean, we're up over 40K, and to be honest with you, I never thought this channel would get to that point. I figured back when I first started the channel, if I got to 1,000, actually, I said if I got to 500, we'd be doing good, but it just kept taking off, and yeah, so I got all you guys to thank for it. Andy Ryder says, built the foam board incubator, but used the Inkbird ITC 106VH PID that can be calibrated to thermocouple, and the unit goes through an auto tune and maintains, wow, plus or minus 2.2 degrees. Pretty impressive. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that Inkbird. I'm going to go online and look it up. That would be an interesting option, for other people that don't want to. Is that the one that's all pre-wired? Basically, you just plug it in, stick the temperature sensor probe in, you're good to go. Karen says, thanks, Terry. We'll record humidity days before the trip and use your recommendations. Perfect. Yep, that'll work for you. Don says, question, one Inkbird matches the inside calibrated thermometer. The second one is 5 degrees higher. Okay, then you got to go into your settings. Like I say, the setting you're looking for, the code is CA, and you're going to drop that to minus 5 degrees, and that should have it match your original thing. But once you calibrate that, make sure that you test it again against your calibrated thermometer, and that way you'll know for sure. Andy says calibrated using the ice water slurry and set for 32. Yep. A lot of people do that. I actually do it on both ends. I'll do ice water on one side and boiling water on the other side, and then average the two, and that's always worked well for me. But I'll tell you what really works well. If you can find a good liquid mercury thermometer, those things are almost dead on. Every one that I've ever used has been really, really close, and that's actually what I check my these things against. I'll check these just to make sure that they are dead on, so I know. Now, Choo Choo's in the house. Lon says, hey, everyone, greetings from Cuba. Glad you could join us. Katana Corner, my favorite YouTube channel. That's a little inside joke they did over there. Is that foam cutter a hot knife? It's very similar. They call it a foam cutter. Why on earth? I don't know why I would have put it. It looks. It's like a hot knife. I mean, it goes. It's got several different. It looks like a soldering iron, but you can unscrew the end off it, and it's got one end that's like 6 inches long. It's just a little thin rod that you can screw on. It's also got a bunch of different cutting tips that you can put on it. But I wish I had it in here. I could show it to you. But it works. It works excellent. I use it for all my foam projects. James Dahlheim's in the house as late as usual. Terry, you need a regular schedule. Nope, just trying to keep you guys on your toes. So, yeah. Don's in the house. I'm talking to Andy. Okay, mine doesn't have a stainless steel probe, more of a plastic coated probe. Okay. All right. Well, that brings us down to the bottom of the list in our chat room. So if anybody else has any questions, go ahead and post them real quick. It actually worked out good because I said I was only going to keep this one at 1 hour, and we are at that point in about 5 minutes. So if anybody else has a question, go ahead and throw it in there now, and I'll see what else we've got going on here. I do want to mention, guys, that Michael Rose, Southwest Game Birds, is working on a coaching/mentorship program that he will actually be promoting it through Katernik's Corner, Facebook, katernikscorner.com, and he actually has his own standalone domain for that. But we're really going to be pushing it through the channel because the biggest thing, and this me and Michael talked about that, the biggest thing, guys, is there is so much bad information floating around out there. And Michael, I mean, I know Michael knows his stuff, and the people that Michael have, dealt with and learned his stuff from, they know their stuff. So it's going to be a really neat coaching program. He's going to have several different courses, and, it's going to be right from beginner stuff all the way through, advanced genetics, stuff like that. And you can decide, which courses you want to take, which ones you don't. But you're going to actually be able to work one-on-one with Michael. He's going to be doing presentations. He's going to be doing live streams like this, where you can, interact back and forth with him. And this will all be private. It's set up kind of like it's going to be on a first come first served basis. I don't know what the limit's going to be per class, but he's still working on that, so we'll get that straightened out. But guys, keep an eye out for that, because if you're serious about quail and you want to take it to the next level, um, you know, get hooked up with somebody that knows what they're doing. And I wouldn't doubt if Michael even takes time, to personally talk one on one with you guys if you have questions or a problem that needs working through. Um, Michael's a great guy, and he'll help you out. Okay, Don. Don says, question: how long before you come out with the thick foam cooler video? Uh, I bought two of the foam coolers because I'm going to build the prototype first, which it's kind of like halfway done right now. Um, it probably won't be until after the first week of October, just due to the fact that I still got a bunch of remodeling to finish up here in the house. I totally tiled the entire house. That was a pain. Tore my back up doing it. So, there's a week off or so for that. And we just got done. We just finished hanging new drywall. We ripped out some paneling, hung new drywall, hard coated it. I got a lot of it painted today. Now we're working on trim work and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we plan on. I'm going to try to do stuff between now and then if I can, if I get done early with what I'm working on for that day. Um, I'll do some videos. As a matter of fact, I've got 4 videos sitting right over here. All the material to do the videos. I just got to get that material out of my shop and actually shoot the video and edit it and get it uploaded. So it's coming. I promise you guys. I haven't forgot about you. It's just, sometimes life takes precedence over a YouTube channel. Mike Caveman Savage says, eventually I want to make my own incubator, but I have a couple working okay, so I'm good for now. Interesting to learn how to build one. Yeah. Here's what I really like about it. If you've already got incubators that are working well for you, especially if they're newer incubators and you don't want to get them all dirty, that's what I'm doing now. I've got my hatching time incubators, both of my Barados. That's all they do is incubate eggs. I When they're ready to go into lockdown, I'll pull the eggs out of that incubator and I'll put them in the DIY incubator, hatch everything out, and then I've only got one box that needs to be cleaned. And that box, I take it outside, I open the door, and I just blast it out with a garden hose, spray it down with disinfectant, let it soak for a little bit, spray it down one more time, and let it sun dry, and it's good to go. So let's see. Andy Rabbit says, I wish I would have found my homemade incubator. I wish I would have found my homemade incubator made from an old heater control. Got some nice chest. I had so many eggs for me back in the days. Yeah, those are the ones to use too. I've seen some really, really interesting incubators online. There's one guy, I can't think of the name of his channel, but he's got a whole bunch of very well insulated boxes that, some of the boxes are plywood, some of it's barnwood, some of it's whatever. But he's got all his stuff out in, I guess it's in his barn. And I mean, the videos I was watching, they were down like, below zero outside. And his incubators were actually, holding temperature, no problem. It was pretty interesting to see him do that. I'm trying to think of what the video was about. I can't right off the top of my head, but it was pretty cool. Don says that foam incubator sounds like I might be able to do it myself without waiting on hubby. I need to get away from the NR360. Yeah, definitely. But I do have all winter to wait now. Yeah. Build one over the winter. That way you got something ready for next spring when hatching season comes back around. I hatch year round, so I don't really have a season. But I would love to see you get away from that nurture right 360. For anybody that knows me, they know that I don't care for them. To me, it's more like a novelty incubator. Yes, it'll hatch eggs, but there's just so many issues that I found with them. I actually did a video on why I don't like them, but You know, once you get a box together that's calibrated and you got it tweaked and it's working right. Um, it's funny because when I tell people about they have Nursery 360s, I always recommend the Barado, just because the Barado is like a set it and forget it, and they get back with me and they say I can't believe how much better hatch rates I'm getting now because I've got that new incubator. So a lot of it has to do with what you're cooking your eggs in. Andy says, oh, and a light bulb for heat. Okay. Yep, those will do it. Mike Caveman Savage says, mine's an old school one, turn the knob to adjust the heat. I have two for one. Oops. I have two, one for hatching, but they're also easier to clean. 200 eggs going in tonight. Cool. Good luck with your hatch. Ron says, I know you're not crazy about the 360. I was gifted one today. Any advice? Best thing I can tell you, Ron, is fire it up 2, 3, 4 days before you plan on setting eggs and monitor it. Make sure that and get a thermometer. If you've got either the Govee or the Therm Pros or Accurites, put it inside the incubator, preferably two of them. Put one in the center, one on the outside, and watch it. See how much of a difference you have temperature-wise. I know a lot of people also have issues with them holding a steady humidity. It's kind of a goofy setup how their humidity is, but yeah, the biggest thing I can say is set it up, get it working, and monitor it. That way, at least you know what's going on inside the incubator before you set your eggs. And if it's an issue where you've got cold spots towards the outside of the incubator and warm spots on the inside, I've actually heard somebody said it was the opposite way for them. They had cold spot in the middle, but warmer on the outside. You can always, halfway through the incubation period, rotate your eggs. Take the ones from the inside, move them out, and vice versa. But yeah, just make sure you know what's going on inside your incubator. That way, there's not going to be a whole lot of surprises, when you get a poor hatch or a good hatch. Scott says 50% off on Amazon with Prime is only $11 shipped on the Inkbird. Amazing deal. Very cool. Yeah, it's time to stock up on Inkbirds. Mike says we hatched chickens and ducks this summer. The hens did it, but we brooded them. It's getting colder and we have inside room for quail, so it's their turn. Cool. Sounds good. All right, guys. It looks like Dirty South Homestead stopped in for tonight. Glad you could join us, Anna. We are pulling the plug right now, though, but I'm glad you were able to stop in. Basically, Anna, what we did was just a 1 hour talk on the DIY incubators, tweaking them, changes you can make to them, stuff like that. But yeah, and hopefully, guys, this helped you out a little bit. I know there's a lot of people that have built this box, and I'm not going to try to exaggerate here, but I would say there's several hundred out there. I would say that maybe even 500, because of all the people that have contacted me, of all the people that have reached out wanting to know what material they can use, what material not to use, can they exchange this for that. People that have sent me pictures after they were done. There's lots of them. There's a lot of those DIY boxes out there, and I'm really happy to see that. So, all right, guys, I don't have a giveaway for you tonight, unfortunately. I don't like to I don't want to volunteer anybody to give away eggs that I didn't talk to prior to a live stream. So we're not going to do a giveaway tonight, but we will on Tuesday. As it stands right now, I don't have a guest lined up for Tuesday's show. I will see what I can do over the weekend. Maybe we can get somebody lined up, because I know you guys don't want to listen to me ramble on all the time. So we'll get somebody in there that knows what they're doing, and yeah, take it from there. So guys, have a great night. What's left of it. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. And thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I know it's middle of the week, but we had close to 50 people in here, which isn't bad for an unscheduled live. And if anybody has any questions that didn't get answered during this live stream regarding the box, feel free to contact me, Terry at KaternixCorner.com. I will try to help you out as much as I can. Caitlin is in the house. Made it late, but made it for the first time. It's 5 here in California. Yeah, I almost thought once about changing the live streams from 7 to 8 just to make it a little bit easier on the people that are, a couple hours time difference on us than us. But I don't want to throw off the people that are so used to 7 o'clock. They say, what happened? But anyhow, we'll talk about that on Tuesday. Thanks again, guys, for joining us. Have a great night. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you come Tuesday.